What is up, guys? Dakota here, and welcome back to the Driven Mad channel. So in today's video, we're going to be kind of talking about, is it time to re-gear my Jeep? First thing that I kind of want to talk about is what exactly does re-gearing do, and like why would you need to do it? So first thing, obviously the engine sends power to the transmission, which sends power to the drive line or drive shafts, which then has to rotate the wheel and tire. So if you add weight, adding bigger wheels, bigger tires, heavier tires, it requires more power. So when it needs more power, it requires more force to rotate the wheels. That is what's going to cause the Jeep to require more power, use more power, possibly have to stay in gear longer to get the same out of it that you did before that at a lower RPM versus a higher RPM, and it will use more gas because you're using more throttle to get the same result. So and that's basically the same with any vehicle. It'd be the same thing as if I did it to my Corvette versus when I do it to my Jeep. Now, at the moment, I have 35-inch tires and 17 by 8.5 inch wheels. The wheels are about 5 pounds heavier, give or take, a little bit more than stock, and the tires are about 14 pounds heavier than stock. So right at about 20 pounds per corner. So in two-wheel drive, the rear axle has to now rotate an extra 40 pounds on that axle to move it along. So that's a decent amount of weight that it's now gotta move. If you want to test that out for yourself, grab a 10-pound weight, just start twirling it around, and then go ahead and throw that down and grab a 25 and see if you can do it just as fast with the same amount of effort. And it gives you kind of a rough idea. So with that being said, currently around town, I haven't really felt the need to re-gear. When I put the 35s on, I barely noticed it, was no issue. And keep in mind, my Jeep is a manual Jeep. If you have an automatic, it'll be a little bit different. You'll probably notice it a lot less because you've got 2 extra ratios for the car to play with to help it stay in the power band, help it rotate those tires. So with the 6-speed manual, the 35s, no big deal, never really noticed it. Then I added the wheels, which again, slightly heavier, and around town still don't really notice it up from anywhere from, all the way up to about 50 miles an hour. You don't really notice it. Now when you start to cruise on the highway at, I'd say, above 60, 65 miles an hour over longer distances, going up hills and things like that, is when you start to notice the extra weight. The Jeep as it is, having the V6, doesn't make a whole lot of low-end power, so when the RPMs are low, below like 3,000, there really isn't a whole lot of grunt to move those tires. So if you guys have been following me along on Instagram, you'll know that I just recently did a trip to Moab, which for me was about an 18-hour drive. Cruising at 75, I noticed it was struggling, and the higher we got in altitude, the more it struggled, and the less I had to keep it in 6th gear. I had to usually just keep going back to 5th, even 4th sometimes, and even 3rd on the odd occasion, just to get what I wanted out of it. Regardless, even with re-gearing, you'll still have to shift some, but it just might not be as many times. So let's say if I'm in 6th, I might just be able to go to 5th, and then it'll do exactly what I need to do and then go back. So currently, since I don't do a whole lot of trips like that very often, I'm not gonna re-gear just yet. I'm waiting till I add 37-inch tires, which are gonna be even larger and even heavier. Then I will probably re-gear, and I'm not sure, I'm just kind of at the moment, my thought process is 513s. I may change to 488s. If I had the 8-speed, I would probably just go 488s and that'd probably be fine. But seeing as how in the manual, 5th and 6th gear are very close. Like there's a very minor difference between the RPM when you shift. So I'm kind of thinking that I'm gonna go 513s just to make sure that I've got enough grunt for what I want it to do for when I do go on more trips, because I am planning a few more. It's just not gonna be every single month. So yeah, just thought I'd give you guys that brief update. As it currently sits around town, you don't notice it. It's hardly noticeable. It's only when you're going above, I'm gonna say 65 miles an hour for a long distance up hills and things like that, that you really notice it doesn't have a whole lot of grunt. Again, some of that is down to the engine, some of that is down to the fact that if I took off the wheels and tires and put the stock wheels and tires back on, I'd probably have a little bit more grunt. The engine would have to work less hard to move it. So, but yeah. So anyways, guys, I hope that helped you guys if you're trying to decide what you need to do. Again, I have a manual, so if you don't, take some of this with a grain of salt, because it'll probably be a little easier for your vehicle. But yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to give it a like and subscribe. And I am working on my Moab trip stuff. It's just going to take a little bit longer to edit. So those will be up kind of later on. So yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Take care.